What's up, guys? Welcome to Podcast 412, Fight for Purity. A bold way of looking at challenges that young people are facing. We'll talk about the naked truth of life and how to handle the problems you're thinking but not talking about. So strap in, get ready for another great podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to our podcast. We're finishing off our second part from last time. But to kick us off, Elisa's gonna share a fun fact. Take it away.
Fun fact. Okay. On average, men typically have more muscle mass than women, and skeletal muscles are faster and more powerful. But women's muscles more readily resist fatigue and are faster to recover.
So guys are buffer and bigger, but we can get over it faster.
Yeah. We're not wimps.
We have stuff to do.
You don't have time to be sore. Okay. Well, thank you. Last time we ended talking just about the different ways that people talk to us, and I said that I would talk about how I have some experiences about how you respond differently depending on how somebody is talking to you. And so when I was in high school, I remember I was not popular. I was a good kid. I did what I needed to do and then I left. I didn't go early and I didn't stay late. I was like, I'm in and I'm out. That's it. So during lunch, there was this kid who came up to our table and he asked me for my number. And well, he came up and he was like, my friend wants your number. And I was like, who's your friend? And it was some other dude, and I had no relationship with him. I just knew him like from sight, like, oh, I know that guy. And I remember I was like, no, I don't have a phone, so I'm not gonna give it to you. I can't give you a number. I was like, but two, I don't know him, and why did he send you to ask for my number? Like, why didn't he come and ask me himself? I was also, no. So like for me as a teenager, like I already had like these boundaries. Like if a guy can't come up and like talk to me like by himself, then sorry, you're not worth my time. Like if you can't like be bold enough to ask me yourself, then no. And then when I was in college, I was walking to class one day and some guy comes up to me and he's asking me directions, and I'm horrible at directions. I still don't know like northwest, east and south and all of that. Like I could not tell you. I'm horrible. I'm the typical like stereotypical girl who doesn't know where she is. So he's asking me for directions, and I was like, I think it's over there. And then he asked for my number, and I was like, oh. I was like, no. I was like, sorry. I was like, I don't give it out, because he was really nice, and he was really friendly. But I was like, no. I was like, I don't give out my number to strangers. And he's like, oh, it's all right though. He's like, it's okay. He's like, me and you can just be friends. And so I was like, oh no. And the first thing that popped in my head was like, I've got enough friends. I was like, thank you. And I went on my merry way. And my friend told me later that was really mean and rude. I didn't know it was rude. It still doesn't seem rude to me, but apparently it is. Telling people you have enough friends, so we don't need you. And then this last time I remember studying in college again. And it's really quiet in the library on the college campus. Like it's really quiet. Everybody's got their headphones and everything. And this guy came up to me and he was like being really polite and like so like, oh, I'm sorry like for interrupting you and you're studying and all this. And I honestly like do not remember a single word he said. Like I just know he was like really sorry for interrupting me, and he was really nice. And then I remember him asking for my number, and at first I was like, no, I was like, I don't know you. But because he was like so nice and he kept talking to me and kept just being really apologetic, I still don't know what he said. I just remember like his body language and like his tone of voice. He was just like super nice. And I gave him my number eventually because I felt like I had to, because he was so nice. Like I felt like, here for all your hard work, I guess. You didn't give up. You know. And I thought, like, I was thinking about it as we were like doing all of our episodes and talking about like communication and stuff, about how like the way people talk to you can have a big effect on how you respond. I mean, this guy, just because he was like nice to me, he like kind of convinced me to do something I wouldn't normally do, because there's plenty other times where I was like, heck no, I'm not giving you my number, I don't know you. But because he was so nice, and like just I still don't know what he said, like I don't remember, but he, just because of how he talked to me, I was like, I'll do something I don't normally do.
Yeah,
I'll agree
yeah.
to this, I guess.
Yeah. Yep, the persistence and the persuasion, yeah. And I feel like that's such a big thing, and we're always talking about it. But it's such a big thing because, you know, like one of the things that we mentioned at the very beginning was that speech is about persuading or informing you or entertaining you, you know. And I feel like our culture right now, it's all about trying to persuade you of something. And, you know, and sometimes it can be good and sometimes it can be bad. I remember I had a neighbor it was quite a while ago, but I remember her yelling at her kids during the holidays, and she's telling me, well, I'm gonna cancel Christmas. You know, and I'm like, okay. You know, you can't cancel Christmas, but you know, that was her threat, was that, you know, I don't know if she was just like not gonna give them gifts, or just, I don't know, take the tree down. I don't know what she was gonna do, but we live in that cancel culture. You know, where if you say something that I'm like, well, I'm just going to cancel you. You know, I'm going to cancel this. I'm cancel, you know, I'm not, you can't be on Facebook. You can't, you know, but you have to be so careful because, you know, people are always they're trying to persuade you always about something. I think especially about like who you are, like what kind of person you are, who you're supposed to be. You know, they're always trying, you know, from whatever way, whether through music, whether through movies, whether through just, even like with us, you know, when we're not trying to persuade you like that, you know, you're this or you're that, we're trying to hopefully give you some more like information, you know, on purity, on things that are going to help you, on boundaries, you know, we're trying to inform you on like on the facts, you know. And I feel like it's just, we deal with that so much. And I feel like young people, we're so quick to just, oh, okay, that sounds, because it's coming from a celebrity. You know, like, why would you listen to a celebrity? You know, I don't know. Why would you guys, I don't know. Why would you listen to a celebrity? Like,
I guess because they're popular.
You know?
So they must.
I mean, they don't know you. They have no degree. Well, some of them might have a degree in something, but they're not like professional, like they're not counselors or not. But just because they have influence, I guess, you listen to things that they say. You know, I mean, there's so many that, you know, and they're always, you know, giving you this message. Well, it's okay, you know.
Maybe because people see that as success now. So, like, they want to follow someone that's successful.
Yeah.
And when they're, like, on stuff and they're talking all the time, then they have that pull.
They must know what
Yeah,
they're
they
talking
must
about
know.
because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
successful.
Yeah. And look
Yeah.
at where they're at.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
have money. I don't know if they're successful.
Well, everyone, the whole thing is money now, you know, like the American dream. Everyone comes here for the American dream.
But yet the most, like, unhappy people, you know, because they get divorced and married and divorced and married, or you hear that they're on drugs, or you hear that they're just doing these outrageous things, and you know, you would figure that they would be content, but they're
Everyone's
not.
there for the entertainment, though, too, I think of it.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know? Like the excitement.
yeah. So I feel like, you know, you're always being influenced in some way, and I think you're as a young person, your mind needs to click. One of the things too that we said in the beginning was like not despising. You know, so many young people have like expectations right here, you know, but yet you should be up here. You shouldn't just be following what people are saying. If anything, I think you're supposed to be actually leading people, you know, and so I don't know. I just think that that's an important thing for you to like consider.
I guess it's just like being aware of what kind of people it's like we have said so many times, the kind of people you're allowing in your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, like what's the culture around you? You know, what are they trying to convince you of, or what are they trying to persuade you of? You know, is it a culture of you should be this way because you're lonely, you know, or you should be this way because you're happy. You should be this way because, you know, you're black, or because you're native, because you're white, you know, every other race under the sun, you know. There's like certain expectations of you because of what you look like or what you believe. And I guess it's just thinking about like what kind of, like we said, like what are you surrounding yourself with? Are they trying to persuade you of something, or are they just trying to inform you? Like, hey, this is kind of how it is, you know, what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah. I think it's all that, those facts and opinions. Like, you got to know what a fact is and opinion, you know, and you have to know the difference between the two. Facts are facts. They're true. You can't change them. And that's kind of why we kind of start with fun facts, because they're facts, you know, and they're interesting to know, but we didn't make them up. You know, she didn't make up the whole thing about, you know, the muscular, or we talked about the retinas. they're facts, you know. It's what makes a man, you know, different from a woman. You know, there's, you know, biological things that, you know, you can't change that. You can try, I guess, you know, but that's how you were designed. That's how you were created. But people have such a hard time with just, I think, you have to embrace like who you are, like not who other people say you are. Because that's what this culture is all about. Everybody's telling you, you know. And when I say embrace who you are, I mean embrace who you are. No, like who you are. You're female, you're male. You know, you're short, you're tall. You have short hair, you have long hair, you have curly hair. You know, like embrace that person, you know, and don't let other people persuade you by just the things that they say or the, you know, the you know, because everybody's sending a message. Everywhere that you go, you're getting a message, you know. And we're a culture of, I think, consumers. We consume everything, you know.
Consuming right now.
Yeah. And because that's what commercials. That's why they spend so much on commercials, because they're trying to convince you that you need this, you need this purse, you need this food, you need this diet, you need this car. You need these shoes.
You need to listen to this music.
And there's always this pressure, you know, that you need more, or that you need this, or that, you know. And I feel like we don't know how to like filter that. You know, I don't know if I'm wrong, but.
And I think people like want to be different too, you know. When you look at some of them, I just want to be myself, or I just want to be whatever. But then you're following everyone else, and anyone that is different or says anything different, they're bashed for it.
Yeah.
You know, that's not. I mean, I know we were saying that word earlier, but I just can't say it.
Oh,
You know, coercion.
Yes.
You know, coerced.
Like to be like convinced, almost like forcefully convinced. So I guess technically,
It's like
Like
really
manipulated?
kind of almost.
It's like coerced is more like they're pushing something so much, not necessarily like in a like mean way, but they keep to the point where you're just like, all right, fine, like I'll do it, or I'll say it, or whatever.
Or sometimes making you do something you really don't want to do, but you almost feel like you're
Like you have to.
like you have to.
Like how you said you're obligated.
Yeah, obligated. Like I felt like I had to give him something because he was so nice. You know, I'm sure that wasn't his intention. You know, to force me to give him his number, but
But that might not be the intention of anybody. You know, they might really believe also a lie too, and they, you know, not that they want to make you believe it, but just because they may believe that a lie is the truth, you know.
So it's like a form of persuasion. To be persuaded to do something by force or threats.
Oh, by force. Oh, dang. By force or threats. Dang. Okay. So I guess that goes into the whole cancel culture deal.
trying to coerce you.
If you don't agree with what I say, then I'm going to ruin you, basically.
Yeah. Or I'm gonna block you, or I'm gonna like not.
Well, like there was a singer that he came out and like he spoke against what's going on with today's stuff, and his publicist decided to apologize on him, and he had to come out and say no. Like he stood his ground, and he's like, if there needs to be a world without me in it, then there's gonna be a world without me in it. He goes, because I believe what I believe, and I am raising my kids the way that they are intended to be raised. He goes, none of this funny stuff. Like, I was like, yes.
Yeah. And that's like coercion, because that means somebody, like, they went out of their way to like forcefully say, no, that person's wrong. Okay, they're wrong.
They don't know what they're talking
They
about.
don't- exactly. You know, and I guess like as a young person, like realizing, are those the kind of people you want to surround yourself with, who will forcefully shut down anybody else who disagrees with you? You know, we talked about it in another episode. We talked about like a blind person, like having their own thoughts and opinions, but if somebody else comes along, they can all say, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
But they're
Make it true.
it doesn't make it true. So just because like there's like we've said it too, like there's a large group of people who agree, and just because they're yelling the loudest, or you know, and just because they have the power to shut somebody else down, doesn't mean that their message is the right one. It just means it's the loudest one.
Yeah, because there can be bad people in power. You know, you can have bad teachers. You can have bad parents. You can have bad older siblings. You know, just because they're like an authority of some sort, and they may seem intelligent, or they may seem informative,
Or nice.
or even like nice. Yeah, they can seem, they wouldn't hurt a fly, but then eventually it comes out. Especially when you disagree. That's the biggest thing that you can see in a person. If you disagree on anything, it could be anything, and if they lash out, or if they get really upset, and
Red flag.
basically like that shows you what type of person they are. Like that tells that they only want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear anything else. They don't want to hear your side of the story, your experience, your whatever, you know.
And that's very true, because if you just say, like, disagree, like you said, you just say no, I don't agree with that, then
If everybody starts,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and that's what we live in right now. And it's like you have to be able to filter through that. You have to be able to say, okay, is what this person's saying or trying to say to me, is it a fact? Or is it just their opinion? Because I feel like so many, you hear so many things, and they're not facts. They're just people's opinions. It's what they think, or it's not based on truth. It's not based on science. It's not based on biology. It's not based on any of those things. It's just, well, if you feel this way, or if you think this way, but that's not, you can't.
It was funny. We had an episode
Yeah,
about like your emotions. Your emotions are all over the place, especially as a young person, and sometimes even when you're older. They're everywhere. You can't rely on how you feel today to determine your future. For the next 5 years, because this makes me happy today, I'm gonna do this all the time, because that's not how we are. We're constantly changing. We're constantly growing just as people. At least we're supposed to be growing, like as a people. Changing our mindsets and like growing with just other things. There are certain things that need to be changed, and then there's sometimes like in us, like we have to realize like like these things aren't good for me. These aren't going to be good for my future. And it's like you said, sometimes the easiest and quickest way to figure out who's a good person to be around is to disagree with them. And because you're supposed to be able to disagree with people and still have like a decent conversation. Maybe we might get a little
Because we all have pride.
oh yeah.
All of us have pride, and we're like, no.
Like, we all want to be right. But you should be able to have a disagreement with somebody else. And then realizing too, like about yourself, that if somebody's disagreeing with you and you're getting real like aggressive and you're getting real violent, then maybe you need to check your own mindset, because we always need to be checked. That's why we need friends. That's why we need family, and we need a community to support us, is because we need to be checked. We need to be put in our place sometimes.
Yeah.
But with truth.
But yeah.
With truth, not with just, because like we've said before, people lie. They're not always going to say the truth. They're not always going to speak the truth. They're going to speak their opinion. They're going to speak what they think, which is fine. But you have to be able to filter to that and say, okay, 'cause I think we said this in one of the episodes too, if you hear a lie long enough, you start to believe it. Like when you hear the news, sometimes they'll be talking about somebody, and I don't know if you guys ever noticed, but every news will use the same kind of wording. You'll hear it on this news, and then they'll use it on this news, and it'll be the same statement. the same statement, because they're trying to convince you of something. It may not be true, and like you said earlier, they take it out of context. You can have somebody say one thing and you take one sentence and if you leave the rest of it out, then you don't really know, but you can change and twist the story just by saying with that, we're just taking it
like with the movie Scooby-Doo, the live action one. I don't yeah.
There's a if you haven't seen the live action Scooby-Doo, like the old one, there's a spot where the character Fred's being interviewed, and they're asking questions, and he's like, oh, I don't want to say that. He's like, you're gonna twist my words around. He's like, you're trying to make it think that I think Coolsville sucks, and then they continue their conversation, but then later on in the news, the lady who was interviewing cut like everything out and only put that one sentence he said, I think Coolsville sucks. So, like nothing else he said was on there, but that's what the news, and that's what sometimes like influencers and like bad, like you said, bad teachers and bad people in authority, that's what they do. They'll cut out the other stuff and just give you one little piece of the puzzle and say that's who they are. They think Coolsville sucks. Exactly. And that's not the truth. Like, he said it, but that's not what was happening. That's not what he meant. Like, it's like understanding that we live in this culture where you can pick and choose what you want to show everybody else, and it's understanding that like with communication, how you say it and what you say is important, because like we said in the first episode about like what communication is, it's a presentation. It's like the first way that people can identify you, I think is how you said, and it's like the most recognizable way of who you are. So it's just knowing that like the way you talk and the way other people talk to you helps define who you are as a person. And that's kind of what we're trying to get to, is that with everything and everybody saying so many different things, so many different messages, some are louder than others, some are being snuffed out, understanding that what you let in is going to determine like who you are, what kind of person you want to be. And it's understanding, I guess, just like be who you are, not what everybody else says. Like I don't know how else to say it.
I think that kind of in a nutshell, it's just whatever you are, it's going to come out. Whatever somebody else is going to come out. If you're this angry person, that's going to come out. If you're like this bitter, hateful person, if you're a critic, that's what's going to come out. And so just be aware of what's coming out of your mouth and what's coming out of somebody else's mouth, because that's going to be a good indicator to you. Okay, I shouldn't be listening because what they're saying. Or I should
stop talking.
Yeah, really, be quiet. But so hopefully that's helpful to you guys.
Something to think on.
Yes.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who are you?
And who are you allowing to say who you are? So all right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Join us for our next podcast. You can contact us through Instagram at podcast412 or email us at 412fight@gmail.com. See you next time.